Judges, in just a minute, we'll start with our introductions. I was trying to kind of wait a couple more minutes. You can begin. Well, see, that's the thing. I hate to start early, but we're going to give everyone a couple more minutes in case someone else comes. So you're all from Hilton Head in the audience? Awesome. Lexington? So you're here with another team?
No,
Oh, you were here with this team?
he just likes science.
Oh,
Good. Good job.
oh, wonderful. That's exciting. Judges, in just a minute, we'll take 5 minutes to come up and look and introduce yourselves. They can introduce themselves. A little more laid back than in the past. So we'll take 5 minutes for that, and then we'll have the presentation for 7 minutes. And then we'll have another 8 minutes actually for questions and answers. So, we'll wait another minute, just to be sure. We don't want any interruptions.
Creating energy.
Energy.
Recycle.
And introduce yourselves and take a close look at the model. You may. We're going to start in 5 minutes for that big introduction. Okay. This is true. Some of you can stand, and that will be fine.
So what grade are you on? Sixth grade. Sixth grade. This is y'all's first time. First time for the school also. So what are your names? My name is Heather. I'm Sloan. Sloan, it's nice to meet you. I'm Annabelle. Annabelle, it's nice to meet you.
I'm Sam. Yes.
I'm Sloan.
And I'm Ribbit. It's nice to meet you.
Any more introductions? All right, audience, let me just remind you, we shouldn't have any kind of distractions, so you'll refrain from using your phone and having a conversation. Anything else, judges, as far as introductions? We're getting ready to have them present. 7 minutes for your presentation. If you use less than that, that's fine, but if it's 7 minutes and the timer is still going, I will ring the bell, and that just means your presentation is over, but that's when the judges can ask their questions. Okay? All right, let me set my timer here. It's loud, sorry. Okay, you may begin.
Hi, my name is Annabelle Court. I am happy to be here today to help represent Hilton Head Christian Academy's 6th grade STEM class. My fellow presenters today will be J.T. Boyd and Sloan McClure. The theme of this year's competition is based on whatnot. When we started researching this, we tried to find different ways to bring all of our ideas to life. Through our research, Recyclia was born. Recyclia is our grand envisionment of the future of the United States of America. We decided to pick mostly about Sweden. They have many, because we all have trash and everything, but Sweden recycles 50% of their trash in recycling centers that we have over here. And the rest of it gets smelted down into energy, which we use the robotic hybrid for. So then they also, which is really interesting, is since they do this process, only 1% of their trash ends up in a landfill. And everything that can't be smelted down gets used in road construction or anything else that needs to be built, like buildings. We decided to mimic that by using this robotic hybrid to smelt down trash. It's also really healthy for the environment because the smoke is 99.9% non-toxic. Now on to Sloan for more. Within Recyclia, you can see that we have 4 means of transportation. We have roadways, a river, we have bus stops for people that don't own a car, and the maglev. And the reason we chose hex bugs is because hex bugs were to our scale, and our scale was 1 inch to 8 feet. So the trains would be about 12 to 16 feet long. This is our industrial zone, and this being the robotic hybrid that Annabelle mentioned earlier, these are the control centers which can provide many jobs for the citizens of Recyclia. This over here is our commercial zone, which is very nearby the residential zone because we took into consideration that the residents would need to have the commercial zone very nearby to get their goods. And we have recycling centers nearby the houses because the residents can take their trash, their recyclables to the recycling centers, which is then sorted and processed and put into the hybrid, which is smelted and decomposed and used for things such as roads. And HOPE back there, HOPE stands for Hope for the Future and Hope for Recyclia, that other cities can help sustain a planet that supports a viable and long-term approach to life. We manufactured the utility infrastructure to be mostly underground to hide the negative appearance of above-ground power lines, telephone lines, fiber optic wires, etc., that is installed within large conduit for future expansion. Recyclia tried to avoid landfills and use the hybrid because landfills are hazardous to people who are around them and can also run out of space, and the hybrid is an eco-efficient thing to use because it is good for the environment and all people of Recyclia. Now on to JT to talk about the utility infrastructure and more about the hybrid.
Hi, my name is J.T. Boyd, and as she said, I'm going to talk to you more about the hybrid, the control centers for it, and some of the utilities that run to continue here at Recyclia. So first, the hybrid, we call it robotic because instead of humans working in the actual place where the incinerator is and everything, there are robots. And we do this because that would increase the risk of death or something like that, because today people working in these facilities can get very sick and sometimes they can die from it. So robots obviously they can't die or get sick because they can always be repaired. They can be destroyed, but then somebody can just go repair it, which is a lot easier. So what people do is they manage these machines and stuff inside of these facilities from these control centers here. We have air scrubbers and these air filters here to reduce pollution from the factory. And underneath is the utilities and a generator there. That's the big blue spinny thing. And the energy that is smelted down in here from the trash goes to that generator, which powers both the incinerator and the rest of the city. So it creates a loop that kind of powers itself, but will go out eventually, but you're powering it with your own trash. So it's pretty easy to power. And this water tower here provides coolant for the incinerator as well as water for the residents. And the money to get all this working comes from tax and city funding. So we present to you Recyclia, Vote for the Future.
All right, thank you. And judges, we will begin our question and answer. You may begin.
First of all, great presentation. That's just doing well. So what are some of your favorite building materials that you use in your city model, and where did you find them?
Almost all of our city is recycled. As you can see, we used a lot of cracker boxes and cups and cans to make all of our buildings. And some of it was donated, which we appreciate from those members. And we use, these are all water bottles, and these are like, this is a milk carton. And so this was donated by actually his science project earlier on in the year.
In addition, my favorite part personally was making the infrastructure underneath. We used Snap Circuit Kits, which we already had in the classroom, and we just kind of tinkered and built some machines. Put it down there, thought it was a good thing to do for the city.
Okay, the next question is, what are the major components of your waste management system?
Definitely, the incinerating is probably the most important part of the waste management system. But there's also the decomposing and then just using materials for other stuff. That is also extremely helpful too, because it can't be incinerated. That's what we do with it.
As a future educator, I'm interested in how are children and adults educated?
We have a university in the commercial zone, and we have elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools for all of the residents of Recyclia who are interested in getting education.
Just wondering, you use a lot of recycled materials, so how much did this actually cost you to build?
Most of the expenses were in the maglev and just the hex bugs, things like that. It was really almost all spent on maglev. And I think we were at, what was it,
$95 for pieces.
Very good.
Can you give an example of how you and your teammates worked creatively to solve a problem?
With the hybrid, we collaborated and decided that the incinerator would be the best for Recyclia, since that's our vision for the future. We think that all cities should be eco-friendly and everything should be used, even the stuff that cannot be smelted, as I said, we use it in the roads.
And a big problem that we had to work around was safety for the residents. And that's when we thought about the robotic aspect of it and just promoted brainstorming.
Could you describe some of the features you have for disabled people within your city?
We have a hospital in our city, and some of the tax money could go toward maybe shelters or a place where we can help people that are maybe disabled or don't have a home.
Did anything you guys learned about the engineering process surprise you?
One of the things we learned about the engineering process is that you have to consider everyone in the city. You have to consider the residents being too close to the industrial zone because they could be annoyed by all of the industrialism and sound. But you also need the commercial zone to be close to the residents because they'll need to get all their goods from there. So it was a lot in the planning process, but we all enjoyed it.
What was the most difficult challenge you encountered while building the model?
Probably the maglev, because we started out with a whole bunch of cups and then we had to upgrade to bolts inside the cups. And as you can see, it still has a couple leaks, but we're working through those.
And originally the tube was too small, and it could be supported by the cups, but it was too small and the Xbox couldn't fit inside it. So then we got a bigger tube and put it on the cups, but then that couldn't support it, so it would fall over and break. And so then we had to get these bolts and put them through the board.
Why would people choose to live in your city?
I personally don't see why people wouldn't want to live because it is eco-friendly. It's a pretty city since there's no telephone wires or anything above ground, and everything is very nearby to the residents, and it supplies everything they need to live. So I think that it'd be a great place to live.
Also, because we modeled after Sweden, their system works, so why wouldn't ours?
So you're talking about your hybrid. So what kind of category, I guess, what would your categories of waste? Are you talking about except food, plastics, what do you do with the different types?
It would probably a lot be plastic from water bottles and cans, and also maybe some food that somebody threw out. Just general waste that is produced in your everyday life.
So what do you do with, say, food? What, I know you were saying with the plastics and everything, it'll get incinerated and all that. Do you do anything different with food, or does it also get incinerated, or how's that work?
Well, it depends on what kind of food.
Okay.
Maybe if it's a banana peel or something, it'll be decomposed. Some foods would be incinerated, but it'll depend on what kind of food it is.
What kinds of people does your city need to operate efficiently?
We could use all kinds of people from engineers to somebody that could work in a hospital or a store clerk. The engineers could work in the control centers and help with maintenance for the robots. We could use all kinds of people in our city.
How will you generate crops for food for your residents?
We have a river, so we can have cargo boats carrying shipments of food coming into the city. Maybe somebody could start a company and then sell their food to the store.
Judges, you're welcome to come up and look at the model again if you need to, ask more questions. We have a couple more minutes.
Give an example of how your teammates created or solved a problem. Your mom.
The biggest problem to be solved was the waste management issues with waste management today, because today it goes into landfills, and eventually we'll have to start using private property for landfills, and nobody wants to use their own property for a landfill. That's why we created the Revive Hybrid, so that it can reuse trash to make energy and supply it to the entire state.
What do you think was the most futuristic thing about your city?
Probably the maglev. That's something we think will happen in the future, and we wanted to incorporate that into Cyclip.
Well, actually, we got the idea from SimCity, and we decided we wanted to bring it to life because it's a train supported on by magnets, so there's zero friction. So it won't really cause damage. You wouldn't really need a lot of maintenance, except for maybe magnets would become not very stable, in which case you could just replace them. So I think it's a very futuristic and innovative idea.
Did you learn anything about engineering that surprised you?
Yes, we did. We learned that you have to plan the city lots before you actually start building it. Because we had several problems where we would put something on the board and then we would realize, wait, we can't have it there because we need blah, blah, blah. Because we would need whatever else there. And so there were several issues with that kind of thing. And so we discovered that you need to plan your city before you actually build it.
Less than a minute.